For the past 6 months, I've been consciously reflecting on my conversations and watching lots and lots of YouTube videos, taking pages and pages of notes on all the stuff I've learned, and I've collated everything I've learned into a list of 6 tips that I think help me in conversations. And since using these 6 tips, I've genuinely noticed like a good improvement. Like when I go over now to a group of people, they actually are more likely to say hi to me, they smile at me more, and I generally just feel more central to the conversation. So, tip number 1 is whenever someone comes over to a group that you're a part of, you have to acknowledge them. You can probably think of a time when you've like gone up to talk to a group and you just go over and no one really acknowledges you. So you just feel like you're kind of listening and not really a part of the conversation. And maybe you can like jump in, but it's kind of a bit weird. Whereas if you go over and someone is just like, hey, if they like verbally say hey, or even if they just like give you a little nod, it's much more inviting and you feel like you have a certain presence. And by being the person who actually acknowledges them, they're going to kind of direct their talking and everything more towards you. And every time they come over to whatever group you're in, they're going to be more likely to acknowledge you as well. So you've kind of got that extra like secret connection that no one else has. This is like one of the ones I've noticed where since I've been doing this, whenever I walk over to a group now, those people will like say hi to me. So it's definitely a good thing to do. Number 2 is to start positive. What I mean by this is in the early stages of conversation, you're just generally like small talk. You're asking like, how was your day? How was your week? Whatever. You don't want to start with something negative unless it's really bad. Like if you actually just had a terrible day, it might be good to get that off your chest, but you don't want to make a habit out of it. So generally, when you're starting these early bits of conversation, you want to say something really good. So what was something really good that happened to you today? Mention that. And what that does is it lifts the mood. It sets like a positive, energetic atmosphere. And I've noticed that when I start with something positive, rather than like complaining about something, I just have like a more energetic and happy conversation with whoever I'm talking to. That being said, there is definitely a place for complaining. You just don't want to overdo it. For example, if you have like a terrible teacher, complaining about that stuff might actually like be more relatable because everyone has terrible teachers and you can bond over that. But you don't want to constantly be that guy who's just always complaining. You want to start positive. Another benefit of doing this is you might be thinking more about like, what am I going to say? What are some good things that have happened? And that will actually get you to become more positive and grateful as a person because you'll be looking for those good things throughout the day so that you can have conversations rather than remembering the bad things and going, oh, I need to tell this person about that. You'll be remembering the good things, which will make you happier. Number 3 is to say thank you for every single favor you get. When we do favors for people, we want them to be as big as possible and like as helpful as possible for them while being as less inconvenient as possible for us. So what that means is in an ideal situation, we would do something really good for them and they would be super appreciative of it. It would massively improve their life and it would not really inconvenience us. And what is the best way for us to know whether we have done a big favor? It is for people to say thank you. Because if you say thank you, like, and generally just go like, thank you so much, I really appreciate this, just like really overdo it a little bit. I mean, don't go crazy, but like you don't want to overdo it. So basically my frameworks for saying thank you is you start just saying like, thank you, really appreciate it. And you say like what you appreciate, like what problem they helped you solve, and then how you couldn't have done it without them. So for example, a thank you might look like, thank you so much for sending me your assignment. It saved me a ton of time because I was going to have to edit this all by myself. So if you hadn't sent it to me, I would have spent another couple of hours editing. So thank you so much for saving me all this time. I really appreciate it. That to me is a good thank you. It's not overdoing it because they actually kind of did save you a couple hours. And you're just acknowledging that and actually sharing it with them. And by saying that to them, it makes them realize like how much it meant to you. And it makes them feel like they did a really big favor, which makes them feel good and it makes them want to do it again. Number 4, and this is linked to number 3, is to update people whenever they do you a favor. So after someone does you a favor, I think you should say thank you like straight away, obviously. But after you've actually like done the outcome, like it's all finished, then you want to update them. So for example, the example I gave earlier with the assignment, you would say thank you as they've sent you the assignment, but then you would also say thank you after you've like used the assignment that they've sent you and all that stuff. So when I mentioned earlier that it had sending the assignment had saved me a couple hours, what I could have done is just said thank you for the assignment and left it at that. Or said, thank you. I'm definitely going to use this. This is going to save me a ton of time. But then what updating them does is it really just shows that you are really appreciative of what they've done. Because if you just say thank you and then forget about it, then they're going to be wondering like, oh, well, what happened? Did it actually help as much as you said it was going to? And updating them just confirms that yes, it was actually really helpful and it means a lot to me because I'm still thinking about it. Number 5 is to always ask when you will be seeing that person next. So I'm saying that you should use this basically when you've got a recurring event. So maybe like a weekly thing that you go to or a monthly thing. You can say like, are you coming next week or next month? Something like that. This also works if you're just not seeing them very regularly. You'd be like, oh, well, we should catch up again sometime or something like that. Really, you're just expressing interest that you do actually want to see the person again. But this can get a bit repetitive if you're seeing someone like every week or a couple times a week. You can't just say, oh, are you here next time? It gets a bit repetitive, right? So you mainly want to do this in the early stages of a friendship. Once it gets later, you can just sprinkle it through, but do it a bit more sporadically. Don't do it every single time. And as I said just before, what this does is it shows how much you're thinking about them and how much you want to see them again. And that makes them want to see you more again because like they know you're actually interested. And also, whenever they think about the thing that you're going to do next, they're going to think of you. So when they think, oh, should I even go to this thing next week? They're going to remember, oh, well, this person is looking forward to me being there. And that's going to make them more likely to go if they like you. And also, when they get there, they'll be like happy to see you because they will have been thinking about you. They won't just be like, oh, this guy's here. They'll be like, yes, finally, the guy who said he was here is here. And they'll feel like a sense of relief. So that's another thing that will make people more happy to see you and talk to you. Number 6, the last tip is to not leave people undelivered. Please do not. I don't understand why people do this to people who they actually want to be friends with. Like, it just signals you're not thinking about them. You don't really respect them that much. And, like, I just don't understand why people do this. There are, of course, cases where, like, you're actually just too busy to reply or whatever. But if it was my friend, I would much rather they said, like, I need a second to think about what you said and write an actual reply, and I don't have time right now, so I'm going to reply to you tonight, something like that, instead of just leaving me undelivered. Or say, like, oh, the next 2 days I'm only going to check my phone like once, I'm really busy. Or, I don't actually really like texting you on this, or really anyone on this app. I'm more of an in person kind of guy, so is it okay if we just don't really text so often? And all of those things I would be totally fine with. I would much prefer the honesty over just being left undelivered because I hate uncertainty. I don't know if anyone else is like this, but I think they are. So just don't leave people undelivered. So once you've done these 6 tips, you've collected all the low hanging fruit that will improve your conversations just the easiest. Next, it's time to actually improve the content of your conversations. You can do that by watching this video.